What's happening, guys? I'm Kobe Chowan here with Craig McCoy, and welcome to our latest Tuesday training, where every week we bring to you a live training from lead gen and AI all the way to business planning and goal setting.
You have the new version and the old version. We collaborate to make it awesome.
If you want to join and jump on the next Tuesday training, join our school platform below. It's completely free. Click the link below, and we'll see you there. I need to figure out how to just let that every automatically come in.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're going to let everyone kind of continue to come in. So just give us a minute. Morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Hi, TJ.
Good morning, TJ.
Hi, Tim.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Dana. Hey, Natalie. Natalia.
You got an iPhone.
We got an iPhone coming in.
All right. Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. Before we get going, I don't want to spend too much time
On your book club?
on my book club. But I think, again, in my mind, it's always how to make yourself better. So if you guys want to join, it's going to be this Thursday, 10 a.m. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. If you want to join, cool. If you don't, I'll be talking to myself on Thursday at 10 a.m.
How much of the book have you read?
I cheated a little bit. I finished it. So point being is this, and the reason why, okay, let me give you a little background. And the reason why I want to start with this book, okay? So every book, not every book, I should just running a little bit lofty, but most business books, we talk about mindset. You have Think and Grow Rich, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. When you have Napoleon Hill talking about what you think about most of the day is what you become. Joe Dispenza, where your thoughts go, your energy goes, all this, it all relates back to mindset, right? And so most of the business books that I read are all superficial, and they talk about this stuff, but they don't get into the weeds. And this book gets into the weeds and really explains what it is to really, when you talk about conceiving what your mind sees and what you want to create your future self. If you can conceive it and then you put enough emotion behind that and you can believe it, you put your plan together and you can achieve it. That is my goal for you guys. And so if I can help you in that path, become better humans and then better real estate agents and better parents and better people, then that'd be an awesome goal of mine to have. And so again, first book is going to be this, and I look forward to having
Thursday,
you guys
10 a.m.
join me in that journey. So and I am I say my journey because I am by no means in the meditation, or I'm learning as I go. And so I'm not here as a spokesman for Joe Dispenza or meditation, or I'm not a yogi by any means, but again, I'm just here to help facilitate learning for you guys. And if I can be a part of your guys' journey, then awesome.
Awesome.
And if not, yeah, go ahead.
My kids were pretty impressed that I was reading that. They walked in and saw it and said, "Oh my gosh, you're reading this?" My daughter actually went to a conference with him. So they were pretty impressed. They said, if you have trouble reading it, maybe do the audiobook as well. Like read it while the audiobook's on.
And okay, so I'm going to preface this book by saying when you do start to read it or even listen to the audiobook, if you are not in the right mindset for this book, it's hard to read because there's a lot of these stories that they seem unbelievable or unreal. And so you have to kind of come at this with an open mind and really dive into what he's saying and understand it, I guess, for the most part, because this goes back again to when I got in real estate. These are the books that I had, to me, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these different tools, right? And so we read or went to seminars. And Earl Nightingale, if you listen to him on YouTube, The Strangest Secret, you can go on that right now. Let's just Google Earl Nightingale, The Greatest Secret, The Strangest Secret, whatever. It's a 10-second read or a 5-minute video, whatever. It's talking about the same thing. You listen and watch that video, and you listen to all these different books from Jim Rohn to Tony Robbins to Brian Tracy. I mean, you name anybody that's in this industry, they're all talking about the same thing. This book just gets really into the weeds about, again, how to do it. And that's That's why I want to start there. And again, so coming out of the gate, I'm firing because it's lofty. It's a heavy read, and really, it's about the application of the read more so than the read. This, a lot of these books that you can read are just for the reading, right? This book is more about the application and try and if we can get in this mindset together and um, learn together and discuss what that means to us individually. You have Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talking about mastermind groups and getting our frequencies aligned, and together we can do more than we can by ourselves. And so um, he's going to laugh at me when I talk about all this stuff and frequencies and light and energy and stuff. But again, that's kind of where I'm at with all this, and I'm excited to be
I
on your
love
guys'
it.
journey with you. So you like it?
I like it. I love it.
He's not even going to be on. He won't even read this book, so I'm not even listening to him. But I hope you guys do.
I think I'll listen to the audiobook.
All right. Or you guys can cheat and go on the Gaia app, the GAIA.
I'm just gonna go to ChatGPT and say, what are the main lessons from this book?
Don't do that. Yeah, there's a lot in this book. Like I said, it's heavy. It's a hard read if you're not ready for it.
I'll have Andrew read it and then he'll summarize it for
Flip
me.
notes.
All right.
And then I'll make it easy on you guys, and we'll go for like little ones, like Bandino's little books. That's the
How
greatest
big is
salesman
that?
in the world. That's like Kobe's style of read right there.
Under 100 pages? It's over 100.
Anecdotal.
It's over 100. Too long.
Wow, big word. Anecdotal.
Man.
Spell it.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. Do you want me to share my screen, Tim, or
Oh, my PowerPoint presentation that I'm learning how to do. Sure, go for it.
it looks great? I love
Oh, look
it.
at that. No, I can't see my. Oh, there's my face. I'm over here. Okay. Well, now we're going to segue into really exciting stuff, mortgage rates from what Craig was talking about. So hopefully I can one up him. My beard's better than his right now. I just have no hair. All right.
I screwed up my beard.
I know. I see that. I'll come back.
Yeah.
What's going on? So even with all the stuff going on in Iran right now and conflict and everything that's making oil prices go crazy, and I'm sure gas prices. I have a Tesla, so I can't relate to anybody's pain with gas prices, but we're actually pretty stable, which is really reassuring because you would think because of energy prices going up, rates to go crazy, and they are getting affected, but not nearly as much as they probably would have based upon how bad oil prices are. So even with that going on, two forces are kind of fighting each other, not forces like Iran and the US, oil prices, energy versus labor, and we're kind of winning the labor front with some bad reports. So that's keeping rates pretty stable. We really did not even move from last week, barely at all, which I was really, really surprised coming into the weekend because Sunday night going into Monday, I think the price of oil was like $120 a barrel and it was like 65, 70 before all this. That's a huge move, and that usually crushes rates. So going on to the next slide. Where are we at? Yeah, we're prices there. So based on where rates are right now, 6.25, no points on a conventional loan. You'll see about a point cost, 5.875. And again, these rates can be better and worse by someone's scenario by using the same thing week after week. So we kind of have not a big difference in the scenario. And then you'll see government stuff still below 6. So all things considered, pretty happy. Can't complain. As far as what Bill and I can do for you, Bill's not here today. With improving inventory and stuff going with the sellers and so forth, this is still a great window to buy and sell. So we're here to support you, not on the buying side. Even if you have listings, we're still there to run scenarios by you, give you some ideas of how to get a seller to kind of cooperate. Maybe if there's a stale listing, we can help with that. Just give you some scenarios, some ideas, maybe what to put in some marketing or just talking to a seller about to give concessions, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're here for. Bill's not here today, so I'm sure if he was here, he'd probably just thank me for all his success over all the years. And until he says otherwise, that's what I'm going to say for Bill right now. And that's all I got.
Sweet.
Perfect. I'm sure he would concur.
Oh, exactly, exactly. Next time I'll do more with the power presentation. I did it kind of at the end of the moment here. I didn't really jump into it as much as I should have, and I kind of forgot to the very end. So I'll try to work that in
No
a
worries.
better
It's all
way.
good.
All good. We appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Goose.
Talk to you. We want to hear from some of you guys.
Hold on before we go there. Well, yes, we do. But I want to hear from some of you guys that actually set a goal for yourself this week. And I want to review that goal with you this previous week. And I want to see if you guys are setting a new goal for this upcoming week. And I mean, we talked to TJ and Elisa yesterday. I know you guys are doing some cold outreach, some open house outreach, open houses. So if anybody has any goals they want to discuss or any questions they want to ask or Any of that fun stuff? Is that what you're gonna say?
I was gonna ask anybody set goals
Really?
and if they hit them.
No. Okay. There you go. Jenks Cook. All speak at once. Sweet. Good talking to you guys. It's like we're staring at a computer screen. It's so weird. Like
We
you can't
fixed
have
this.
any emotion.
It's insurance.
All right. Well, see you guys.
All right, TJ and Elisa, I'm putting you guys both on the spot. I know you
Since
guys both did open houses this weekend. I want to hear how you prepared for them, how the turnout was, and what your follow-up this week for them are. So I don't know if TJ you want to go first or Elisa, but
it's fine, I'll go. Just big shout out to Sue. I mentioned it yesterday, but she wasn't there. Sue, your idea with the door knocking before the open house to hand out business cards in case anybody parked in front of their driveway worked. Everyone was very receptive of the business cards and really happy I stopped by and open to a conversation either then or when they came by the house themselves to tell me nobody parked in front of their driveway. So that was great. So thank you for the pro tip. Big shout out to Sue. But it went great. We'll have another one this Saturday. I've my association that I'm selling in right now only allows for 3 days, for open house Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So after this Saturday, I will have hit an open house on every available day. Wednesdays, a little bit of an odd day in the middle of the week, but the elementary school that is right across the street from my house gets out at 1:30, and I had open house signs and balloons all over my house directly across the street from that elementary school. So that was kind of my thinking to see if I can just catch the eye of a young parent picking up their kid. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're just getting a lot of foot traffic and young couples. So pretty successful. We'll see how Saturday goes, but I'm excited.
Cool. Thanks, TJ.
thanks, TJ.
Hi,
friends.
Elisa.
My name's Elisa. If I haven't met you, I don't know if I've really talked yet on this big group meeting, but I am fairly new licensed agent and I am utilizing open houses and door knocking as a primary way to gain new clients. And what I've been doing to prep for, I host open houses pretty much every weekend. And what I do is I print out a very nice on photo paper invitation to the open house, and I go to the neighborhood 2 days usually before I start my open houses, and I door knock the whole neighborhood. My goal this weekend was to hit 40 doors, and I did that. And it's nice that the sun stayed out a little bit.
Hard to do.
It's nice that the sun is out longer now because now I can hit door knocking a little bit later and not have to worry about it getting dark because obviously we want people home. So I walk the neighborhood, I get the invitations to all the neighbors, and I had a great turnout this weekend. A couple of people that came and specifically came from my door knocking. So that just makes me feel nice that, you know, I did a little bit of good work there. But yeah, so I door knock every week before my open house, and I'm just going to keep doing it.
Tell us the story you told me about the difference in area and the reception that you get from different places.
Yes. So I've noticed that just based on the different communities that I'm in, I get different responses. For instance, I was in a neighborhood in Claremont that had a little bit of an older community. And I noticed that no one was afraid to open the door. No one was afraid to have conversations with me. Everyone was really social and communicative, which was really nice, but they were definitely a lot older. And this community that I door knocked in this past weekend, a little bit of a younger crowd, I think, and definitely had a different vibe as far as how nice or not nice they were. A lot of them were pretty antisocial. They didn't want to talk. A lot of them had no soliciting signs, which I know I'm doing an invite and I'm not soliciting, but usually I take that sign as a way of we're not going to have a good conversation anyways that door, so I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the different communities because people talk completely differently based on kind of where you're at. So yeah, so I'm definitely learning a lot.
That's cool because this is again, back to what I say to TJ all the time, it's a contact sport, right? So you have to make yourself available for these contacts, whether it be door knocking, cold outreach, social networking, and you name it. You need to get yourself out there, and being comfortable being uncomfortable is one of the hardest things to do and learn. And you doing that is like coming out of the gate as a new agent. If you can get past this hurdle, this is like the hardest thing for people to do. So if you can do this now, then good job.
Yeah. I'm taking all of my no's as I'm closer to getting a yes. So
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Sue, do you have any advice for some newer agents sitting open houses outside of the inviting or talking to the neighbors about parking in front of their driveway? Like, how would you follow up with clients? How would you follow up with other homeowners in the area and really make the open house worth their while? If somebody comes in, maybe they don't sign in or not interested.
The best open house I ever went to was raffling off a bottle of tequila. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Best
Kobe's open
one
house?
Yeah, with
ever.
me, Andrew.
Exactly. I just want to commend you guys for being out there door knocking. TJ, I'm really glad that talking to the neighbors about, hey, if anybody's blocking your driveway, that it works. I now no longer, by the way, TJ, put any clothing on my bed. So thank you for that advice. Inside story. Anyways, actually, I just think that you guys are out there doing it, and it inspires me.
Cool.
Sweet. Love it.
So with that being said, wants and needs. I mean, is there anything that you
In real
guys
estate.
oh, sorry, Sue, I cut you
Go
off.
ahead. No, yeah, I'm off.
Wants and needs. So is there any that you guys want to see, that you guys want to promote, anything that you guys need from us?
Is
Want from
there
us?
anybody you want to hear from? We can go get some escrow people in here to talk about FinCEN, some title reps, talk about new things and title side of stuff. We can get them guys from.
Are you guys getting tired of just me and Kobe?
We could bring in somebody for like Google ads, for Meta ads, for CRM. I feel like at the very beginning we went through a handful of the link offerings, talked about bundle and save, talked about the CRM, talked about websites, talked about Meta and Google and whatnot. But yeah, just deciding if we're going more organic like this and talking to our agents, seeing what's working and what's not working, little tips and tricks, or if you want us to have it more interview style, like come in and bring somebody in outside of the link and have them talk about something they're doing. Like we brought in the Resolve investors, or I don't know who else we brought in. Kyle, hearing from other people.
Anchor Loans guy.
Anchor Loans guy.
I think
Or-
it's really good. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was gonna pipe in. I was gonna say, if it'd be kind of nice. Love you guys and still want you guys to do it, but maybe like escrow once a month to see if there's any changes, what's coming up, because I know that changes a lot. Maybe a title rep once a month to see if there's anything new there.
We'll do both those on the same day because they tie themselves together. And so one of the things that we're hearing from escrow, and this goes back to my frustration with agents that are kind of newer in this business. It's like there's a right way to do things, and then there's a way just to do things, right? And so what I want escrow to do is help you guys understand the process of escrow, the expectations that we set for the escrow officer, how to open an escrow, all these little simple things that, I mean, I guess that falls on me. If, as your broker, I should be, I guess, teaching and training more. So I think we have an escrow thing in our agent launch, but for me, it's just the little things are so important. And so when you're opening an escrow, you don't have to have, a bunch of email questions back. You just know how to open it. Time frames, lenders' time frames, escrow time frames, what your job is, what the lender's job is, what escrow's job is, what title's job is, and really understanding that process. And so I think I probably failed in that regard. And so I will definitely bring in escrow, title, more of Bill and Tim. So if anything that you guys want to see like that, yeah, I'm happy to jump in and help facilitate that.
I think that's a great idea. I would love to see a listing appointment. Maybe you guys can mock out like a listing appointment and how Kobe and Andrew would do a listing appointment to Craig.
Yeah,
And
I would love
how
that.
Craig would do it back because he would say, "Here's what your house is worth."
No, so
Sign it.
this is we were talking about this yesterday too. So what agents are supposed to do or could do, what Andrew and Kobe do is different than what I do, is probably different than what Sue does, different than what there's different way to do things. And depending on where you're at, depending on the level or the relationship that you have with the
Hmm.
person, if they're cold, if they're kind of a referral, kind of warm, or a friend, right? And so I do things all the same way. I treat everyone like a friend. I come in quite literally with nothing in my hands. And so for me, it's more of a relationship that I'm building. And so the way I handle like a listing presentation, even if they're cold, is I want them to walk me through the house, right? I want them to tell me about their house in their own words. And then as we're walking through, I'm looking at their walls, I'm looking at their photos, I'm seeing what I have in common with them. If they are of my parents' age, I'm talking to them like I'm their kid's friend, right? If they're my grandparents' age, I'm talking, well, now I'm older, maybe for Kobe, but I'm talking to them like I'm their grandson's friend, right? So I'm always approaching this as like a friend and just conversationally speaking. And so when we're talking through this, as we're walking through the house, it's that always be closing mindset. It's the presumptive close. When we list, here's what I suggest. When we do this, I'm always saying like this is what we are going to do when we are going to, list your house and sell your house. And so again, maybe not the right way, but over my 28 years, that's what's worked for me. Very rarely will I lose to another agent. There are closing techniques at the closing table. Back when I was doing it, we had pens and paper, right? And so I'd literally hand over the pen and sign the contract. Nowadays with DocuSign and everything else, it's a little bit different. Closing is a little bit less of a closing. But there's techniques involved in that. And so I'd love to just sit down and go, yeah, do one of these presentations and I'll do it with Kobe. Kobe can do it with me. And you can see his style, maybe see you jump in and give me your style. But again, just what works for me may not work for everybody, but it's just, you know, one big thing that I've always had is just the knowledge of my market, right? I grew up in my neighborhood. I grew up in my market. I knew my stats. I knew price per square foot, even though that doesn't much matter where I'm at. I knew days on market. I knew what was listed. I knew what was sold. I knew what was pending. I had seen every single house, So when I was giving my CMA, I was giving it from my perspective without having to write it. Um, and so I didn't need a presentation. I knew my marketing plan. I knew what I was going to do. Very rarely did they even care about my marketing plan. I didn't have to, there's agents that go out and say, oh, I have my 5-step marketing plan. And that's great. They saw my marketing, which is probably why they called me in the first place. And so they knew who I was. They knew what I was about. They knew what my marketing was. And so I didn't have to sell myself. By the time I got there, I was typically already sold. And it was just a conversation at that point where to price and what to do and all that. And so, again, we can definitely.
Hmm.
That was probably not even the answer you're looking for, but
Can I jump in there? But
please,
I guess my point would be, is it better to maybe send something in advance?
100%.
I would love to see the paperwork that, a seller's net sheet.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would
yeah,
love to see,
always.
what Andrew and Kobe are maybe bringing in, because maybe all of theirs are not so much referral. I know
Yeah,
what I do. I also know that when I go up against somebody who maybe is from Compass or some other brokers, they bring in way too much paperwork, and I don't want to do that. I think there's a happy medium, but I think it's important for new agents to understand what type of packet you can have, along with what type of, paperwork to come in with. And
Yeah.
sometimes I will send a couple things in advance to somebody, because it's a lot when you just get there. If they have a little more time in their day to look over things, I don't know. I just love to see what you
yes,
guys do.
that's
Yeah.
great because
Uh,
I'll typically do that. I'll send an email with my CMA before we meet, and in that email, I'll lay out what our meeting is going to be about, what we're going to discuss in that walkthrough, and then really discuss price. All right, and so. Um, and Kobe could go through his 5-step marketing plan, but yeah, we'll send out his listing presentation.
Yeah.
We went through yesterday with these guys, and so it's pretty short and sweet, simple.
Maybe next week we'll do that. We'll have me and Andrew get on, show ours. We'll pitch you as a seller, and you can pitch us because we send everything prior to. We're not coming in with like paperwork necessarily, but we do an entire listing presentation more for jump off points. And so when we're sitting there talking, they're asking questions instead of us trying to pitch ourselves the entire time. And so we'll run through that. We could jump on and show you how we kind of create it and whatnot, and then that sheets, and then you do yours.
Yeah,
It's great
mine
ideas too.
is just questions. Like I just ask a lot of questions, and the more you get used to doing that, the more you can ask leading questions and just assumptive closes all the way through the presentation. Because my presentation starts when I'm at the door, right? I don't have a presentation that I'm going to sit down at the kitchen table and go through. My presentation is literally a walkthrough of the property, and I'm always presenting in a sense. So maybe a little bit different. Cool. All right. Well, who else? Anybody else? Good times. Dave Anderson, you have something. Dana.
I have a question with that, and you'll probably go through it next week, but you said everything's electronic and DocuSign. I'm used to, or still do, even though they DocuSign stuff, I bring in a copy of the contract. So that one, if they don't DocuSign, they can sign it, and two, they can have a copy.
Yeah. And it's not a bad idea to bring one with you, print one out, and then actually fill it out and then go through it and have a wet signature on it. That's not a bad idea for the listing, especially. Yeah, that's a very, I mean, I still bring a hard copy with me when I go, but I'm old, which I'm sure different than Kobe and Andrew. They don't probably know what a pen is.
I've never done this before, but Sharon says that it's a good idea to actually bring a purchase contract with you and say, what would the ideal purchase contract look for you? So you can actually walk through with the person, what are the terms you want? Is the price you want? I've never done it, but it sounds like a good way to basically kind of walk through with the person something that's a little bit more than what every other agent that's competing against you does.
And that would be kind of a good tie into if they need a 14-day escrow or a 30-day escrow, or they need to sell in 21 days. If they're really pressed for time, you can bring up other options. If they say they don't really care about the length of escrow, they really focus on the purchase price or terms. There's a great way to kind of guide that conversation.
Yeah, and really, with that being said, those are the questions that what I'm referring to when you're walking through the house. Those are the questions you're asking them. Where are they going? When do they expect to be there? Understanding their price points. What do they owe on the property? All those questions that you're talking about, Michael, on the purchase agreement, you're walking through those questions without going through a contract per se. If you're newer to this industry and you want to have something for reference, by all means, have that, and it's not a bad idea. But know the contract in and out to where you know the questions you're going to be asking these guys as you're walking through the house. I'm not a big fan of sitting down at the kitchen table and presenting. And so I've never done that. And so it's always just me a conversation, not a presentation.
Dana, saw your question. Yes, me or Andrew will call you after and run you through what we use.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, do you want to pull yours up right now?
Our list presentation?
Yeah. Does anyone want to see his right now while we're talking about it?
Doing one right now.
I would.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I
Let's do
have
it.
a question to
Yes.
clarify. So when you go to the listing appointment, obviously it is best to have a physical copy of the agreement. But it does require like a lot of wet signatures and initials, right? So I prefer to just say, I can email it to you afterwards and you can sign it digitally, right? But I'm just curious if you guys do bring it physically, and obviously if it's somebody that's not good, tech savvy, then it makes sense. But it's just so many signatures that you would do in front, like in person. So I just want to clarify, you guys would just, if you do it digitally, you do send it through email afterwards?
Well, so again, I'm probably going to be different than Kobe. And so the bummer that technology has, it's done us a disservice to a certain extent, because you send over a DocuSign and it just clicks through to the initials and you're not really explaining anything, right? Whether it be the purchase agreement, the listing contract, disclosures. And so when I'm going through a purchase contract per se, again, I used to be able to sit down with a contract and go through each bold number in the contract, able to explain to these guys what to expect, when to expect it. You want to explain what liquidated damages is. You want to explain, want to explain the contract. And so having one physically there, it doesn't hurt. And then as you're going through, quite literally, you're just reading it upside down, right? You're hitting the bold points because you know it backwards and forwards. You should. And then you flip it over, right? Yeah, there's a lot of signatures on this. What is it, 12 pages now? I'm not sure. But you still want to hit these points.
112.
It feels like it. You want to hit the same points though. And so as you're going through the contract, yes, there's a lot of spots to sign, but there's also a lot to explain. And so again, being old school, I would prefer to go through the contract, initial, go through the contract, initial, go through it, and initial. So it's not just sign here, sign here, sign here. It's a conversation along the way. And it eases their mind to a certain extent. Like they're not just signing something, you're explaining what they're actually signing. Same thing when it comes to the purchase agreement. You're going to go through that purchase agreement with them when you get it. You're going to go through the disclosures when you go through the disclosures. Again, that's just everybody's different.
Can I sneak
Okay.
in?
Yes.
I think this is a really important point. If you have a first-time buyer or a first-time seller or somebody who hasn't done this in a long time, I think the fiduciary responsibility is to sit down with that paperwork and say, this first page is saying I'm representing you. I'm not representing somebody else, but I could. The second page is this. You can say this is legal jargon, but I think that as an agent, and it's just like knowing your own forms, people will ask me questions because wording changes and I'll have to like read it with them and figure it out. Even as an experienced agent, I think that if you have a new buyer, a new seller, or somebody who hasn't done it in a long time, printing it off, highlighting the most important things, because a lot of it is just blah, 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 blah. But I totally highly recommend that. I think that you're doing injustice to your clients if you're not in front of them and you're just having a DocuSign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, the different schools of thought, because I'm sure the newer agents will do things differently than I do things. And it just, everybody has their own opinion. And Sue, I do agree with you in that regard.
But newer or not, you can get a lawsuit if somebody says, oh, you just sent me something and you never explained it to me.
Totally, 100%, 100%. Are you presenting this?
Yes, so short screen.
Okay.
So we usually do one of two listing presentations. I'll run you guys
You
through
don't know what this is when you
kind of quickly.
Want to go?
yeah.
So we have one that's
Yeah,
actually
please.
inside of our Luxury Presence account, and then we have one that we do just in Canva. And so we will use these interchangeably. This is Andrew. Obviously,
Hey.
I think everybody knows Andrew, but Andrew's here as well with us. I'll kind of run through at a high level both of them, and I think next week we could probably spend a little more time on like exactly how we walk through page by page.
Yeah.
The Canva one that we do is more for PDF send out. If we ever bring one in person, we will use this one. A little bit less about us, a little bit more about the property. The Luxury Presence one is a little bit more about us, a little bit more about what we offer.
That one we use for volume. Like right
Mhm.
now, when Kobe and I have inbound leads through our website, they request a home valuation, we can complete one of those in under 7 minutes. So that's what we don't want to spend, an hour on something like this every time a
Mhm.
random lead comes in. That's just for efficiency. This right here is what we do for clients that we have a relationship
And already
with or
know.
need to impress. I
And
think
then we
any-
don't need to sell ourselves
Yeah.
as much.
It's just showing them,
Property.
and it's showcasing the marketing as well. So it's like, this is what our offering memorandums look like. This is what our like flyers will look and feel like. It kind of shows them the work that we're putting in up front. I think every agent with us, any agent in general, should have templates of this that you can work on and build over time.
It's all in the CREM system as
It
well.
is, and you
Or
can
check
request
CREMs
this.
for it.
Yeah. So our marketing team can create this for you. As long as you're going to be collaborating with them. So working with them on what photos you want to use, what comps you want to use, that kind of stuff. But you don't actually have to build it out. But just know that you should build this over time because you'll see there's like case studies and different things that we've done.
And so, yeah, for this one, it's usually about the property. We do a property overview with what we think the proposed list price should be, and then everything we can find on public record. And so this looks like just kind of a dumb page, but this is usually the page we confirm things with. Is this the right bed bath count? Is this the right building size? Is this the right lot size? And there's been a handful of times they'll say, oh, well, public record shows 4918 on the square footage, but we added an additional 500 square feet that's not permitted. So we need to account for that. Or the lot size is actually a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, or one of the bed and bath is not permitted, or there's an extra one and this one in the garage that doesn't count on record. And so depending on where you looked, there was a different bed bath count. So we really use this page just to confirm details about the property, let them tell us if anything's wrong on it.
You'd be surprised how many times there are discrepancies between what the seller thinks, what public record shows, and this has to be adjusted, or you have to put things in disclosures, or you should adjust your MLS input based off what they say.
Especially when it's like an inherited property
Yeah.
or a property that was built quite some time ago.
Or you'd be surprised how many times you have to tell a client that they're wrong, unfortunately. But we obviously base things off of tax records, and if they think something differently and they can't prove it, then you shouldn't put that out there. Right here too, sometimes it depends on the client. We go in with either a proposed list price if we kind of know exactly where it should be, or if we know that they're firm on a certain price. But sometimes we come in with value ranges. So if we don't know whether or not their timeline is like more aggressive and we need to sell it quick versus they want to get top dollar, we'll come in with a value range. That could be like 4.1 to 4.35. And then we explain to them, the lower end could get the most activity up front, could get you competing offers. It'll move the property quicker. But if you have time and you can hold out and it's, vacant or whatever it is, or you live there and you don't have a timeline, then you can list a little bit higher. So this is where we kind of discuss the value range, and then we go straight into the comps. We probably spend the most time on this page. We send it over to them beforehand so they can take a look. But Kobe and I will always reference these. Like we pick and choose. I mean, there could be 10 comparable properties. We choose probably the 2 or 3 most closely comparable sales that have actually sold, and then 1 or 2 that are active. This one was very unique. Not very many comps, so we just picked the top 3. But we're trying to support our price point.
And I feel like I usually try to use some of these different properties as like an anchor. So we just did one for a multifamily building, and they were kind of debating on listing at 1 million, 1.1, 1.2. We found another listing that was extremely comparable that was in better shape though. It was another 5-unit, better shape, recently remodeled that was listed at 1.2. And so it was on the market for I think 97 days or 100 days by the time we went to the listing presentation. And we said, this is what you're up against. And so with residential, it's going to be a little bit harder because very rarely you have an exact true comp unless you're in a track home. But using the comps, what's been sitting for a long time, knowing how long these properties sat on the market before they were sold to justify your price. And so not just saying, hey, I think it's 4.25 because that's what the average of the CMA report on the MLS said, but pulling a property that's directly down the street that is a very, very close comp and letting that do the talking more or less and saying, yeah, you could list at 1.2 or 4.25 or whatever it is. It's going to sit for 30 days, 90 days, 120 days probably. So using the comps, not just justify the price, but the length of expected listing as well.
You can pick and choose here. Like the categories that you put should be relevant to or one of the highlights or most important features of the property. So these lots are huge. So that's why we included lot size. Sometimes you're working with a condo or a townhouse, lot doesn't matter. You want to put like days on market. You got to pick and choose based on the situation and the seller. What's the most impactful information you can put here? But no matter what, Kobe and I go in and we like memorize what we need to know about these properties. Okay, Loma Verde has been on the market. We'll know, 75 days. We think it's slightly worse on the interior, but has, X, Y, and Z. Like we're able to compare the two in conversation. So anytime when you pick and choose comps, we memorize the important features and, really support it with the actual information here.
And using what's good to retouch on this to justify pricing. And so these 3 were all properties that were recently renovated on the interior. And so we really leaned into price per square foot. And it's like if this property was in perfect condition, you'd probably get $1,000 a square foot. But it's not. People are going to come in and probably budget about $100 to $150 a square foot to fully renovate the property. And so if you wanted to be at $1,000 a square foot, you need to do X, Y, and Z, or we need to list lower accordingly.
I think everyone knows too, like price per foot is not the main metric you should use, but in some markets it can be. Like if you see here, everything is within $15 based on renovated, similar interior quality. But we did one in Encino where price per foot was anywhere from $450 to $2,000.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't matter. Your price per foot is not something you should focus on. You should focus on the years built, the like parking availability. Like there's so many different features per market. So here, price per square foot carried a little bit more weight. So we included there just so they can see how they stack up.
Then we go into broker remarks. This is our rationale behind a price. And so we always like to put a little bit of actual thought into it, not just a ChatGPT answer, but explaining why, even though the data may show something, we think you should list at X, Y, and Z. And then we usually tie it off with exactly what we're going to do. So this is a little bit more personalization. It's not just numbers, it's our kind of thoughts on why.
Yeah.
And then we go directly into sale highlights and just other case studies on properties we sold. And then depending on the type of property, we will pull similar sales. If it was an industrial building or if it was commercial property, we're only going to show multifamily here. If it's a residential, we're going to talk more about other similar residential properties that we sold and how we were able to do a better job marketing it than maybe somebody else did.
This right here, I think, is very important. Like, obviously, most clients are not going to care or look and read through all this. But what we found is very impactful is in the presentation, we reference one of these. It's like, oh, how did your Google ad campaigns work for a past sale? We go directly to this one, how we ran Google ads for targeted keyword searches for people looking for homes in Malibu. Like, we're able to reference it, and the things that we do, like, we can actually show proof of the marketing strategies that we have.
And like this was Circle Prospecting. We got the buyer from Circle Prospecting. The guy was not in the market to buy a house. We had texted all the neighbors probably a dozen times, giving them every single update. Every time there's a price drop, every time there was a vacancy, anything that was going on with the property, ended up selling it to the guy who owned a building like right here, who wasn't in the market to buy a property, but because we texted him so many times, he was like, let's go check it out. It ended up being the guy who bought it.
Yeah. And this is important too because it's your resume as well. Kobe and I have like 5 or 6 versions of this depending on the property type. Like he's saying, if it's industrial, if it's multifamily, all this is going to be multifamily. But this is residential, so it's 4 units or less. Back in the day here, we didn't have, or a year ago, we didn't have too many sales in the surrounding area of North County, San Diego. So we did use some from Playa del Rey, but it had the same kind of impact as we were showing how we marketed the property. So over time, you want to build this resume. Like I know most people here are probably focusing on a certain market, certain area. You want to build this resume as big as you possibly can so you can pick and choose and you can reference these in your future listing presentations. Again, they might not even come up. You might not ever have to reference them, but it is very impactful when you can sit down and be like, take a look at this one. This is an example of our marketing. We virtually staged some stuff here. Like there's different, I guess, stories you can tell behind everything that you've sold, and you want to put that on paper so that you can use it to support listing presentation.
And if you're a brand new agent and you've never sold a property, use some of these. Like you could say our team sold these properties. We talked to like TJ when he was going into his first listing presentation. Be part of our team. And obviously what that means is you're going to do exactly what has worked for other people at Link to sell these properties. So if you're sitting there like, I have no idea what to do, feel free to use some of these sale highlights and talk about, oh, my team was able to do this, our team was able to do this, our brokerage was able to do this. That's the listing presentation that is more focused on a client we already know, a little bit less selling us. This is the one we do for any lead that comes in. And like Andrew said, we could duplicate these, and it's a little bit more about our team in general. You could duplicate it, and within Luxury Presence, you could just add the comps directly into this. It talks about just our mission, who we are. We talk about comparable properties. You just plug these in. It's a little bit more interactive. People can go from map view to list view. Talks about the properties themselves. Gives us that same similar page of what is our recommended listing price, a little bit more information on the property itself. And then it goes into, once again, way more about us. What is our 5-step marketing plan? People can see what the professional marketing, Circle Prospecting, Meta ads, Google ads, and then open houses and broker previews. Or we then have a video embedded in here, and it's a video of us walking through one of our listings and exactly how we use the 5-step marketing plan. So somebody can watch it kind of live and in person, not in person, live. A couple of case studies. We talk about how we use, like you said, the Google ads to sell this property after it was on the market for over 200 days with somebody else. Or we were using Circle Prospecting for this case study. We talk about other seller programs we offer, going back to the bundled save, cash offer, depending on what their situation is. We want to just throw these all out there because we don't want somebody to ever come into here and say, I like what they offer, but I do need a cash offer, or I like what they offer, but I need to sell within 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, or maybe I'm in a unique situation and I think they're going to be too expensive. We want to kind of get in front of every potential counter to working with us to at least be able to get a conversation.
I think it's pretty clear really quick that this is longer for a reason because these are cold leads, like I was mentioning earlier. We want to give them as much important information about us, or like we need to sell them on working with us. Well, what does it mean to work with us? We have all these other programs, we have all this other stuff. You know, it's kind of like a bigger resume that you're putting in front of a colder lead. The other ones that we were just showing you, we already know that person, or we have an in, or we've scheduled that presentation. Like there's more of a relationship there where we don't need to overwhelm them with all this information. This is really just to capture as many people as possible because it's a volume game. So in our other presentations, when we're sitting down, we will talk about this stuff, but it doesn't need to be all on paper in front of them. Like it's more of a conversation. This is like a lead comes in, they immediately get, or within 30 minutes, they get a full valuation and analysis from Hattrick, and they get to see all this cool stuff we do. You don't need to overwhelm the clients that you have relationships with all this info. Sit down with them, talk through it, make your listing presentation short and sweet because everything is going to be a conversation. You're not selling them on paper, you're selling them in person.
And then we go proven track record, just show some other properties we sold in their area, talk a little bit about us, and then let's talk. And the cool thing I like about the luxury presence one is you can see the insights. So you can see if people actually go into it, how many views or how many slides they actually view. We use this as our test one. So I think these are kind of fake numbers, but yeah, that is the one we do for cold. We could also do more of a just like general seller flip book, seller workbook, whatever you want to call it, and you throw it into your Hoobie, into your Instagram bio, give people a reason to work with you. So those are the two main ones we do. If you guys do have a listing and you need help with it, obviously text Krems and they will help you create one of those.
Just kind of rambled for a while.
Just kind of rambled for a long time.
This is my first one.
This is Andrew's first Tuesday training.
Nerve-wracking.
But yeah, we will, I guess next week we kind of role play it a bit more as well and maybe have Craig be the seller and we'll kind of pull comps on a property and go into it exactly what we would be doing if Craig was our seller.
I guess the last thing is, Elisa, we're doing one with you after this. If you don't have a track record, again, you're using someone else's team. So any agent here, if you're doing a listing presentation in another market, maybe you don't have sales in, like reach out to Krem, see what other agents we have in Petaluma, in Bakersfield, whatever. Just talk to that agent and then create your resume based off of their sales. Like you obviously have to ask them and you want to say, hey, can I like
Work with you.
have you as part of my team to help get this listing? Like if there's a link agent, they should say yes. But that's how we help each other. That's how we collaborate. Use the success of other agents to bolster you and help you in your pitch and show that you have people behind you. Because if it really got down to it, I'm sure that Bakersfield agent would help you out. Maybe you could partner up, you could co-list, you could co-broker, whatever it is. Just reach out if you don't have the track record just yet. And then, reach out to our marketing team. We'll help put that together. And it's shorter over time. So create it one time and then you'll have access to the template. You can pick and choose. You can create your resume and build it over time with each presentation.
I have lost listing presentations because I did not bring somebody with me in the beginning. So looking back, if I had to do it again, I think if I didn't know the person and it was kind of a cold listing presentation, I would have another person with me to do it with me. That's just me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And if you are in San Diego, or Canyon Lake, or Murrieta, or Temecula, or wherever it's at, and you want us to come, we're more than happy to run into the listing presentation with you. We could speak to the 5-step marketing plan. We could speak to what we do on other listings. We don't need to co-list with you guys. Just we'll be here to help and give you guys a little bit of guidance, especially if it's virtual. Sometimes people want to do these meetings on Zoom. I recommend trying to do it at the house no matter what. But if the person, for whatever reason, is like, just let's jump on a call or jump on a Zoom call, I get on with some of our agents and their sellers, even on the phone, and just run through exactly what that 5-step marketing plan is, what the bundle save program is. So if you guys aren't comfortable explaining exactly what the ins and outs of it are, we could send over this presentation, even jump on a quick 20-minute, 30-minute call, go through any questions the seller might have to really be able to help you guys out. So feel free to rely on us. I'm sure Craig would jump into any listing presentation at any point or go with you guys.
That was way better than mine. So call Kobe and
So me and Andrew will go with you.
Stu, I think you'll appreciate this, but another piece of advice is like be presentable. I'm sure everyone knows that or has a sense of
Polo.
it. But yeah, dress
Unlike
nice.
Andrew.
Kobe and I, to our first listing presentation together, this was like 6 years ago. We showed up. He was in a pinstripe suit. I was in a tan suit. And we showed up and the guy opened the door and he was wearing like
one basketball shorts.
One basketball shorts and like slippers. He was shoeless. And we just looked like clowns, but we got it. And it went a long way. Like now we dress a little bit not as nice. Like you don't have to go overboard. TJ, you can get rid of your sweaters and stuff, but always dress presentable, dress nice, act the part. People like to see someone who takes themselves seriously,
Yeah.
or else who really will.
I know you
I'm
guys
kidding,
are just
TJ.
talking about listings, but when I go out and I show homes, I print off each home that I'm
Mhm.
showing and I highlight how many days it's been on the market, the square footage, if there's parking, HOA, and I make sure that they have a copy of all that.
That's
And then
good.
if we have a house that doesn't have like a vacant house, I will sit down and say, this is what we're doing today. These are the 6 homes we're seeing. Let's number them. When we go in the home, try to pick out something that's kind of funky that you can remember that home and write it down on this piece of paper. But these are the main points you're looking for.
That's great, Sue. That's honestly more than I would expect from my agent. That's great. You leave them with something, they have like a clear map of what they've seen, something they can remember. It's pretty obvious too, but I always send a schedule out. If we have like a day full of showings, I'm making sure I'm texting all parties involved, the exact schedule, exact time, exact address. There's no issues with access, any important info they might need, access instructions, all of that I'm getting in front of. I know that clients really appreciate that when you're on top of it and you have the information. So yeah, that's a great piece of advice.
Hey, Sue, quick question. Do you give them all the properties at once, or do you give them one at a time as you reach each property?
I give them all the properties at once. I have a folder. In the folder, it has the properties and it has my business card. And normally it's stapled because I know what order we're going to go in. A lot of times I will do a drive-by before, just so I'm not wasting anybody's time. And so, yes, and I will like on the map circle how far like a little spool is, or if they're by wires, just so they can see that I am knowledgeable about where that house is located and just something to look for. But yes, I give them all at one time. And I really stress, especially with the house like 3 and 4, I really stress pick out something really weird about the house, like cat sitting on roof, something different. So they remember, because when you get home, it all blurs together.
Yeah,
And then I have them write it on the piece of paper.
I like it.
that's right. I know Dana's doing something similar now too, and I think there's a lot to say about previewing properties. I know it's obviously not the most ideal thing, but if you have a client that maybe you're trying to impress, trying to put in the work for, trying to secure their business, previewing a property, like touring it early, driving the neighborhoods, and having that information on hand before they even see it, telling them why this might be a good fit or not a good fit. Basically, like showing them that you're looking out for their best interest. Like, hey, I noticed this feature that probably won't be a fit for you, but we can go check it out anyway. I saw it and these parts were great, but definitely want to take a look at this, whatever it is. So Dana's doing that now. Dana, I think that's great. Keep doing that. It really does kind of, I think it helps strengthen your relationship with them. And yeah, if it's not a secure relationship just yet, it's a good way to do it.
And it helps me get comfortable talking to the other brokers without the pressure of the client in front of you.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Stu, I'm just curious, which MLS printout do you use to give them?
What
There's
I'm
like
supposed
short
to use,
version.
what I'm supposed to use, and what I use are 2 different things. If I completely do not know the person, which is mostly rare, I will give them the agent client preferred. But if I know them, I will actually give them the exact same one I use. I print one out for myself too and write notes. So it's going to be the agent preferred and not the client preferred, because I like in the private remarks, it will say things like the dorm room's not included in the square footage, or so, the garage was, the garage was turned into a living area, not in the square footage. I like that if I know the people, because what I don't want them to do, and they can get agent's number any place, but have the agent number right there in front of them, and then they'll just call the agent directly. So if I have a really good rapport with them, then I will use the exact same one I'm using.
Okay, thank you.
But if I don't start reaching out to people soon and picking up my phone and calling past clients, I might not be showing any homes or having any listing appointments.
All right. Well, anything else you guys want to run through? This was, I think, a good meeting. If not, thank you all for jumping on. We'll see you next Tuesday, and we will do more listing presentation stuff next Tuesday. Oh, and Craig said Thursday at 10 a.m. for his book, Becoming Supernatural.
How do you send the link to everybody? You're the tech boy.
The tech boy.
Yeah.
Sending a Zoom link makes me the tech boy now. So I will send a Zoom link to everybody who is interested in attending. And you guys will see Craig on Thursday at 10, Becoming Supernatural.
Jamie, we'll see you in person end of this month. She's coming out.
Really?
By the way.
We'll see you soon, Jamie.
Jamie's one
Yeah.
of our partners over in Georgia and California.
Were we supposed to start reading the book?
Florida,
before
excuse me.
this?
Florida, sorry. The East Coast just
Get as far as
melds
you can.
together for me.
Craig, how far along do you
Let's
think
set a goal for first 3 chapters.
3 chapters Thursday? This book.
We're gonna get Kobe a little picture book, and he's gonna follow along with us.
All right. See you guys soon. Have a good week.
Thank you guys.